All right, Week 8, Yahoo Sportsbook Live. Let's do this thing, Minty. This is an exciting slate so far. I'm really looking forward to the games we're going to talk about later on, but let's live in the moment. Let's live in the present right now. Let's talk about this Steelers-Browns game. You know, right now it's at the half. We've got a lot of games at the half right now, so again, we have a lot to get to. Currently, 3-3. What an exciting game between the Steelers and the Browns. The current line is -2.5 towards Cleveland. Obviously, Minty, the biggest piece of news here, folks have probably seen it by now. Old Chris Boswell, the Steelers kicker, got obliterated on a fake field goal attempt there inside the red zone. I don't know about you, Minty, but like if it's me and I'm going to go for it on 4th down, I'm just going to go ahead and keep the offense out there. Even if it's this Ben Roethlisberger offense, I'm probably not going to put my kicker at risk like that, especially in a game that, like, you knew coming into it is going to be a close game. Like, this might come down to a field goal, and now the Steelers might not have their field goal kicker the rest of the game.
Yeah, sucks. I unfortunately, but maybe fortunately, didn't see this happen as I was typing out my notes. But looking at this halftime line now, Cleveland giving 5 points. I don't know. I might look to Pittsburgh here. I think they can keep it close. And as I was telling our producer earlier, who is from Pittsburgh, it's very on brand that the Steelers are playing a very low-scoring road game. They are known for very low-scoring road games. So, yeah, I would have probably looked to the under pregame. Don't know what that total is now, but I'm looking to the Steelers plus the points here.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, this definitely felt like a safe under game. I mean, Baker Mayfield, like, should he even be out there playing with his injury right now? They got him in some kind of harness, which apparently, like, restricts his shoulder mobility, which just seems, again, a little questionable overall. The total for this game is 26.5. Minty, 26.5 is like nothing.
It is like, you know, although the value is gone from whatever the pregame total was, I think I would go with the under still. And you know what? Case Keenum did really well last week, so I don't know why Baker is starting as he's not 100%.
It's contract time. You know, he wants to make that money out there. You know, he's a gamer, he's a grinder, that whole thing. So I get it from that angle, but man, it is tough. Let's move on to a surprising game here with the Miami Dolphins 3-3 with the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. The current line on this game, I believe it was -14 towards the Bills. 14.5 it closed at coming into this game. Right now, the current line is Buffalo -6.5. Minty, this has been surprising. We talked about it before the show started. Like, the Dolphins have been mostly a mess this year, but for the Bills not to take advantage of this matchup, you've got 80 yards on 17 attempts for Josh Allen here. No running game whatsoever. Not much going on there. You know, the Dolphins aren't doing too much either. This one is definitely a surprise. How do you feel about this Buffalo -6.5? I feel like that is pretty safe. The Bills probably can get it going here in the second half.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty solid line here. I mean, way better than 14.5. So this opening line at 14.5 is probably based on the fact that they shut out Miami their first meeting this season, and the fact that Miami kind of sucks also. Also, Buffalo being the best scoring team in the league. I mean, I think it was kind of an overreaction, but I did like them to win by 2 touchdowns when this line first opened. I was like, this is easy money, but now that I'm seeing what I'm seeing, it's like, it is a surprise. I really like Buffalo -6.5 here. I'm not personally going to bet it, but I think Buffalo can, you know, put some points up there. Maybe the second half spark something. I don't know. This one, it was kind of hard to read, especially seeing how it's going now.
Yeah, I think I'd take the Bills -6.5 here. Josh Allen has never lost to these Brian Flores Dolphins. You know, they're a very man coverage heavy defense. Stephon Diggs, one of the best receivers against man coverage. They also have Manny Sanders, Cole Beasley there too. Cole Beasley's more of a zone beater, but still nevertheless. So I don't know. I would still have a lot of faith in the Bills winning this one by at least a touchdown, but that's just me. Also, Josh Allen has at least ripped off one big long run in this game. That was pretty exciting, and we know that mobile quarterbacks against man coverage defenses are typically slanted towards that mobile quarterback. So keep an eye on that one. You know, one game, Minty, we really wanted to talk about, Tennessee Titans against the Indianapolis Colts. 14-17 in favor of Indianapolis, in favor of the home team there. The current line is -3.5 towards the Colts. This one has been interesting. Indianapolis got up to an early 14-0 lead. Michael Pittman, 2 touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor ripping off some long runs. I like a lot of what I'm seeing from this Colts team so far, Minty, this year. And, the Titans are so hard to get a read on. It's like they're very volatile because they're kind of shallow in terms of their depth on offense. We know Julio Jones is not playing. Derrick Henry was a little banged up in parts of this game, but A.J. Brown with some huge plays there to end the halftime.
Yeah, so this game was like my game of the week, I guess. On TikTok, I posted this as my trap game, with Tennessee being the trap here. They opened as a 1-point underdog, and then so much money poured in on Tennessee that Tennessee then became the favorite. And then after the Julio Jones news, like, the Colts were the favorites here. Like, it was a very weird movement here. I love the Colts as underdogs. I love them to win as favorites. I would have bet them -3. That would be the highest I'd go. So I don't like this halftime line, even though I do think they keep it close. I do think they win by 3 points, but I wouldn't bet it higher than 3 here. Yeah, I think that some of these line movements throughout the week are just like overreactions to injuries. I don't think any receiver should be like 2, 3, 4 point moves. So this one is a little weird, but I really like this game. And as Jared Quay says, the Titans are a team that wins against good teams, but loses to bad teams. And the Colts are average, okay? They're getting better.
A pretty good
but
team,
yeah, pretty good team, upper average. So yeah, I really like the Colts here.
I like that. Upper average. That makes a lot of sense for this Colts team. And this game is important for the AFC South. The Titans might not want to play down to the competition on this one. They might want to play up on this spot, because if they lose this game, they might be in trouble from a playoff perspective. But we shall see how the rest of this one plays out. I am at least liking that the Colts' young stars, Jonathan Taylor and Michael Pittman, both showing out in this one. Let's move on to, what a barn burner. 49ers at Bears. If you haven't noticed so far, I do have some dignity. I would never normally wear a ridiculous flat brim hat like this, but I'm trying to channel that which angers us in the fantasy football community by being Kyle Shanahan for my Halloween costume. Minty is your Peyton Manning on Monday Night Football, a very meta costume by you there, right?
Yes. I mean, Peyton Manning lost a bet. I lose bets sometimes. So yeah, here's my inner Peyton Manning coming out here. This particular game, I don't have much interest in, because betting on the NFC North, I typically lose. Betting on the Niners, I typically lose. Hard to read, but it seems like Chicago -2.5 could be the safer bet here. I mean, I think they are the better team, the better defense. Justin Fields really getting it together here. Don't know what's going on in San Francisco. I mean, I feel like they have all the right players, but just not getting it together. Don't know why. Leaning Chicago, but definitely a no bet for me.
Minty, as Kyle Shanahan, I can tell you what's going on with the 49ers. They stink. They're not good. They they have had some injuries, of course, but I mean, you just look across that roster right now. The ecosystem is not good enough on offense to withstand Jimmy G being who he is. He needs to be propped up by a perfect situation. The defense is a huge problem as well for them. And we've got my tweet pulled up right now. What we've really seen so far, and this is interesting because we know Matt Nagy is not at the stadium because of the whole COVID thing. They're really taking advantage of Justin Fields' movement, right? He has run 5 times for 48 yards, 9.6 yards per carry. They're booting him out of the pocket, which no kidding. The young quarterback with the cannon arm and 4.4 speed. Yeah, maybe you ought to get him on the move a little bit, not have him just drop back behind a bad offensive line. Look, the Bears are going to have their problems, but I think Justin Fields, when you have him in this situation, I mean, he's completed 11 of 13 passes so far. This is what we want to see from Justin Fields. It's not going to be perfect. He's still going to take some bad sacks, this, that, and the other. But against a soft secondary, just really one pass rusher that you got to worry about up front in Nick Bosa. I mean, this is the type of spot that we would love to see Justin Fields in more often. I love that. I love it. I'm enjoying seeing it, even if the actual Kyle Shanahan is probably not enjoying it so much. All right, let's move on to another interesting game here. Well, I say interesting. The value in this game might be interesting because we've got the Eagles in Detroit 17-0 over the Lions. Minty, kind of feel like Detroit plus 17.5 the halftime line right now might be kind of interesting. Look, the Fighting Dan Campbells, they never give up. I see Dan Campbell on my screen right now, looking like a real man out there. Listen, they're not going to just roll over in the second half. And this Eagles team, I don't trust them. We've not seen them really play from ahead since like week 1 of this season. They're normally more of like a comeback and garbage time type of team. But I kind of feel like Detroit, plus 17.5, kind of spicy here. I think they can mount a little bit of a comeback against a very soft, not aggressive Eagles defense in the second half.
I totally agree with you here. The Lions have been known to be like a comeback team, especially under Matt Stafford, obviously no longer there. But with Jared Goff, I think they're very capable of coming back here. Lots of value on the plus 17.5. I think in the second half, the Lions can certainly put some points on the board. I think the Eagles will kind of let their foot off the gas a little, and the Lions will take advantage of that. Dan Campbell looks pretty hungry, so yeah, I'd go with the Lions here. Why not?
Yeah, let's get some kneecaps out there, Dan. Come on, let's go. All right, we don't need to talk about – I'm going to make an executive decision on the show. We don't need to talk about the Panthers and Falcons. Who cares? Do you care?
No, I don't care.
Okay, cool. We don't care about that. Let's at least hit on – look, also Rams, Texans. Yeah, the Rams 24-0. Minus 30.5. We're almost to minus 50. Another minus 50 week for the LA Rams. Minty, any interest in taking the Texans plus 30.5?
Absolutely not. As long as Davis Mills is still under center, no thanks. But are we surprised that they're getting shut out by the Rams?
No.
I am not. No, this is a Matt Harmon like Lions boost right here. The Rams 30.5 are almost at plus 50. Yeah, Matt Harmon special.
Yeah, give me the Rams minus 30.5. The Texans are not making a game out of it. I literally laughed out loud at Davis Mills' interception. It was so bad. Anyways, last thing we'll hit on here before we go to the later games. Your Bengals, Minty, minus 11.5 was the line coming into this. It actually moved up. I think it opened up at minus 10 for the Bengals, but current line is minus 7.5. 17 for the Bengals, 14 for the Jets. This one has actually been pretty close. We got a nice touchdown from Mike White to end it. Look, Mike White, I didn't get this takeoff on FFL, and probably for the best considering he threw like 2 interceptions right away. But I actually kind of think that Mike White, I'm not saying he's better than Zach Wilson or like that Zach Wilson is a bust, right? Like I'm not insane. I'm not, that drunk already. But I do think that, this Shanahan offense, which is what they're running in New York there with some of the guys from that coaching tree, like it's based on timing, it's based on rhythm, it's based on execution. Minty, like Zach Wilson is an improv out of structure passer at his best. He's booting out of the pocket, doing that little like point downfield thing, waiting for guys to come open, but nobody's coming open for the damn New York Jets. I kind of think like Mike White running this thing like in time, like it might be kind of good for this Jets team if they could stop turning the ball over, which seemingly they cannot.
Yes. But you are right. Mike White, not that bad. I mean, people are overvaluing the Bengals here, and I'm a big Bengals fan, okay? Big Joey B guy, but I know they're not going to win by 11 points. They're not even going to win by a touchdown. Like, they don't do well in, like, large margin of victories, like being favored by that much, and they really don't win by that much. So I'm staying away from this game. I thought that maybe when the Jets were up 7-0 in the first quarter that I could live bet the Bengals and maybe get a good number, but they were favored by like 5.5 points. Staying away from this one. I think the Jets might come out and surprise us all. I would take the points with the Jets here.
Yeah, Mike White completing 79% of his passes. Of course, he's 23 or 29. 2 of those were interceptions. So that was the problem. Jamison Crowder also fumbled late there. So just keep your eye on that game. I'm with you. I feel like this is going to be much closer than the minus 11.5 we saw as it opened up. Let's move on to the later games here. Let's take a look ahead. Patriots at Chargers, Minty. Chargers -4. I am really excited about this game. I love this matchup. Obviously, we know that the Chargers' biggest weakness before their bye was their run defense. They were ranked 32nd in run defense DVOA, 28th in explosive rushing plays allowed. Do you think the Patriots come in here early and just establish the run, really can get Damian Harris going? I think this is going to be a really interesting game.
Yeah, I really like this matchup, but it's so hard to read which side I really want to go with. Kind of leaning the Patriots here, but I do know that at one point they were like 6-point underdogs, and that would have been the better number than 4 to take right now. My best bet was the over for this game, as it was set at like 49. Still like it, as you said, that the Chargers' biggest problem was their run defense, and the Patriots, their rushing offense isn't that bad, so I think they'll fare well against each other here. I think the Chargers will be well rested coming off a bye, ready to score. Don't really care who wins now. I just want a lot of points on the board for my over here.
Yeah, Damian Harris coming in on back-to-back 100-yard rushing games, so we shall see if he can continue that momentum. Brandon Bolden made a lot of plays in the passing game for the Patriots the week before, but yeah, the Chargers coming in off their bye is really interesting. Like, I know that Brandon Staley, the design of that defense is like he doesn't really care if you're able to run the ball. Like, you can concede rushing yards as long as you don't make explosive passing plays, but you can't be that bad at run defense. Okay, like you can be the 25th. Ranked run defense, but you can't be 32nd, okay? That's too much. That's too bad. You're going to end up getting your quarterback behind the ball, scripts, everything like that, especially when you're trying to live on 3rd and 4th down, like making later down plays. You got to be better in your run defense. So we shall see if Brandon Staley did a little something to correct that. I'm also excited just about the Justin Herbert, Bill Belichick matchup. Bill Belichick was, they blew out the Chargers last time they played, 45-0, I think it was, in Herbert's rookie year. So this should be one of the most fascinating games on the board. 50.5 is the current over-under. I'm with you. I like a lot of points to be scored in this game. Seattle Seahawks hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars. Not quite as exciting. Minty, we talked about my player props before the show, how I always go over on everything because, from a spiritual perspective, I want to manifest good, positive energy here. I do not like to bet unders and manifest the negativity in the middle of a game. But, hey, doing that with the Seahawks on Monday Night Football last week, that really screwed me. That did not go so well with a lot of overs with the Saints and the Seahawks. I don't know about this game, though. I think this game could be a little more interesting. The current total, 44.5. These are two defenses that are not very good. Geno Smith, I know it's not gone well through 2 games, but Minty, this is a much easier level of competition going against the 32nd ranked Jacksonville Jaguars pass defense in terms of explosive plays allowed compared to the Steelers and the Saints the 2 weeks before.
Yeah, so I'm really torn on this one because at first glance, I really liked the Seahawks here. They are kind of the better team. I mean, Geno is not a bad quarterback. He just throws too many picks, too many costly turnovers with Geno here. Although he doesn't win straight up much, his record is like abysmal. He covers a lot of the time, and covering 4 points kind of seems like nothing almost. I know a lot of sharp bettors are on the Jaguars, so that's why I'm kind of like torn here as the public is on Seattle. I lean Seattle, but I don't really have an official play for this one.
Yeah, I kind of like Jacksonville too. I mean, I think this game should be fun for fantasy because both these defenses are bad. I really like some of the Seahawks receivers props, like a 46.5 for Tyler Lockett. James Robinson's 99.5 total yards. I talked about that on FFL. Like, there's some good props that you can get here overall for this team. Like, again, I do expect it to be a pretty good fantasy game, but I'm with you that I could see this going either way. Seahawks -4, Jacksonville +4. I think the Jaguars are getting better. I think Trevor Lawrence is getting better. That's the key. Like, the early season Trevor Lawrence struggles, I think, are mostly behind us, and I don't trust anything about what's going on with the Seahawks defense right now. Like, give me a break with that unit. Okay, let's move on. Washington going to Denver. Denver -4 here. Over/under of 44. This should be a pretty boring game. Teddy Bridgewater, Taylor Heineke. Give me a break. We do get Jerry Jeudy back for the Broncos, though, in a really good matchup here. I don't know how much he's going to play. Could be a little bit of an in-and-out situation for him, especially because the late-week practice report wasn't so great. But, Minty, you got any thoughts on this game? Any burning bets that you want to get off about the old Washington football team with my guy Taylor Heineke? The exciting Taylor Heineke, the pride of Old Dominion. Kent's right. He's messaging me right now, our producer. Like, I shouldn't be so rude. Taylor Heineke, that's my guy. So I apologize.
Well, your guy going up against my guy, Teddy Bridgewater. I don't know. I like Denver here, but again, wait, this is in Denver? Oh, yeah. I lean Denver here. I mean, they have the biggest home field advantage. It's hard to acclimate to that altitude, and I'm getting all scientific now, but I really am not betting this game. I got to save my money for bets that I'm really sure of.
Yeah, this feels like a stay away game for me. Because Heineke especially, like, he could go either way. And this defense in Denver is not what we were expecting. I mean, the Washington defense is not what we were expecting either, but we've known that for a while. So many injuries for Denver. They just don't have the players anymore that we were expecting. This team, I don't know. The more I talk about him now, maybe I am on Washington because I still think Washington has some life. Terry McLaurin here is a great player. You know, maybe Antonio Gibson finally gets going after Dearness Johnson, who, by the way, just punched in a touchdown for the Cleveland Browns again this week. Dearness Johnson ran all over these Broncos. We shall see. I don't know. Still feels like a stay away game for me. Let's move on to a really exciting one. New Orleans Saints hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bucks -4. The over-under is 48.5. Now, this one should be a fun game.
Indeed. I really wish Drew Brees was still playing. This would have been a great Brady-Brees matchup again. I actually really like the Saints here. I think I might bet it. They have the Bucs have one of the worst passing defenses, and I think the Saints can really take advantage of that. I don't really have much to say. I still have to do a little more research on this one, but I really lean the Saints here. I think they can keep it close at home. I don't know if they can win straight up, though. Brady's been looking really, really good. But yeah, Saints.
Yeah, I don't know that they can win straight up either, but I could see this being like a field goal game going into the fourth quarter, or at least close. It's just tough. Like, the Saints just don't trust Jameis Winston, right? They do not want to let him, play like old school Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Revenge game here, by the way, so that's nice to see. They don't want to let him play like that version of Jameis. So I don't know. It's tough there. You know, obviously Alvin Kamara is the engine of that offense, but the Bucs have the best run defense in the NFL. I don't know that Todd Bowles and those guys are going to let what Pete Carroll just let Alvin Kamara just leak out of the backfield. Free release, a little into the flats, like make all those plays in the passing game. I don't know that that's going to happen, but I do like the Chris Godwin props this week. 73.5 yards, 5.5 catches for Chris Godwin. Give me the over on both of those. The Saints have actually been targeted the fourth most in terms of guys lined up in the slot. We know that's where Godwin lines up. Marshawn Lattimore locking it up with Mike Evans. I don't know, though. I could see this game actually going under the 48.5 total, too. Saints defense is legit good, and the Bucs can bring some pressure and maybe force Jameis into a few mistakes. I don't know. I could see that one being pretty interesting. But, Minty, let's transition to the primetime games. Look, it's tough to talk about this Vikings-Cowboys game because we do not know what's going to happen with Dak Prescott. Currently, in Minnesota, Vikings -2. Well, I'm seeing it at -3 right now. Actually, I think it's moved from the -2.5 that we were at earlier. Over under of 51.5. This should be a pretty interesting game overall, especially because, like I said, it sounds like Dak Prescott is a true game time decision. Like, it is gonna matter what he does in pregame warmups in terms of whether he plays or not. We could be seeing Cooper Rush start for the Cowboys.
Yeah, you're right. This is a tough game to talk about when we don't know who's starting for the Cowboys, because he is like the mitochondria of Dallas, right? He's the powerhouse of the cell. He definitely matters in this game. I had the over here, and I gave out the over at 52, as you know, the Cowboys are one of the best scoring offenses, but their defense a little faulty here. I think they'll allow quite a few points. Vikings do earn a lot of yardage offensively, so I think they can put some points on the board, but Vikings as favorites, I don't know. I don't really trust that, but I don't know if we can trust Cooper Rush either. So no sides for me, but I'm on the total. I'm just hoping for, I don't know, mistakes. I don't know, some pick sixes. I don't, just a high scoring game. I hope it'll be a shootout.
Well, yeah, hey, even if the Cowboys offense can't score, Minty, they got Trayvon Diggs on the other side of the field. He could always bring back a pick six for you.
There you go. There you go. Always positive, Harmon.
And who doesn't like to give it up in primetime more than Kirk Cousins? So, you know, it is what it is. Let's move into my player props, because even if we don't know the status of Dak, I think we can still player prop our way around this game, like around the Dak Prescott situation. So with that being said, give me the over on Ezekiel Elliott, 75.5 rushing yards at -115. When you look at this Cowboys team coming off a bye, Dak Prescott either banged up or not playing, Minty, you think they ain't going to turn around and hand Zeke the ball 20-plus times on the ground? I think he can have a big game in this spot. And you look at the Vikings, too. They're third in terms of pass defense DVOA. They're 24th in rushing defense DVOA. If you are going to attack them, you're going to want to attack him on the ground. I think Zeke has a huge game in this one. Transitioning to the Vikings, I got 2 props for them as well. Dalvin Cook, over 19.5 carries. Ended up going with the carries instead of the yards or anything like that. Again, Dalvin Cook had 29 carries before the bye when he said he wasn't fully healthy. Now he says coming out of the bye that he's the healthiest he's been all season. He hasn't felt better than this. And same thing with Dallas. They're a much better pass defense than they are a rush defense. I think Dalvin Cook gets saddled up with a bunch of carries here too. So give me the over on that one. And lastly, give me the over on Justin Jefferson, 6.5 catches at -115 for Justin Jefferson. Look, this guy is a superstar, full-blown elite wide receiver already. As I mentioned, Trayvon Diggs, he can get you interceptions. He can bring them back the other way. He can also give yards to the top opponent receiver. And even so, like, Dallas doesn't have Trayvon Diggs travel with the top receiver anyways. I think the matchup for Justin Jefferson on the right side of the field is going to be much better as it is. So those are my props. Minty, I am 28-14 through 7 weeks. So hoping for another big one here regardless of the status of Dak Prescott.
The prop king, and I hope that you viewers realize, which I didn't actually realize, that Harmon only takes overs for these player props. He's never taken an under, which I find mind-blowing because, like, you don't really need to look anything up. You're just like over, 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 and here's why, and not even caring. Like, I love it, and you're winning at it. So amazing. Yeah, so I'm just mind blown. I'm not good at player props that much, so.
It's all about positive manifestation, positive energy here. I'm not going to sit there on Sunday night. Well, I mean, tonight I'll be like on my laptop out on the front patio there, like giving candy out to kids while also trying to watch this game and track my props and everything. I'm not going to be sitting there being like, no, under, don't get production. It's like I'm manifesting positive energy here. So that's the goal. With that being said, let's move on to another game that has a lot of injury questions, especially on the Giants side of it. So this was a tough one to come up with player props as well. But we have Giants at Chiefs. Chiefs -10. Minty, I said it on the show last week. I feel like I've been saying it every single week on this show that, like, the problems for the Chiefs defense are not going away, okay? Like, they ain't fixing this thing. It's going to be a problem all year. I feel like it's a pretty good matchup for Danny Dimes and whoever he's throwing to. I think Kadarius Toney and Sterling Shepard are probably on the positive side of a game-time decision. Obviously, we know Kenny Golladay, Saquon Barkley, those guys are not going to play. Can the Chiefs get right here? That is the big question I think that everybody is asking, Minty.
Yeah, you're totally right. Their problems on defense are not going to go away overnight, not going to go away in a week or two. I mean, they have real problems here. Their downfalls are turnovers and defense. I gave out on the FFL show that I liked the Giants first half money line at +200 because the Chiefs, they love to play catch up. They love to play from behind. And, full game, if I had to pick, I would probably go with the Giants +10, even though I stay away from double-digit spreads. The Chiefs, I'm an anti-Chiefs bettor. I don't think they can cover this huge spread, even against this Giants team whose offense is looking real slim to none. Danny Dimes can surprise us as we've seen before. I think he'll surprise us. I think he'll do well, and he'll keep it within 10 points.
I like it. I think this is going to be pretty close, pretty competitive, although there are a couple scenarios where the Chiefs just come out here and if they just fix the turnover problem. That's the big yeah, right? I mean, the thing with the Chiefs offense right now is that the offensive line in terms of the interior guys, they did not play well last week, but they've been playing well on balance throughout the season. The tackles have been a problem, which is an issue when you make this huge trade for Orlando Brown and you then move into left tackle, kind of out of position there. Totally different scheme than what he's used to. So there are some issues on this offensive line. I think Patrick Mahomes is pressing more often than usual, and they're shallow in terms of it's Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill who are banged up. And then, Darrell Williams, a backup in the backfield, and really no one stepping up in terms of that third pass catcher spot. So it's tough for the Chiefs right now. I would probably just stay away from this game because I could see the Chiefs coming in here and blowing the doors off the Giants at home. Yeah. The Giants, they're very shaky as well, so we shall see. But I don't know. I'm going to stay away from it. But let's do the player props here. And again, it's going to be 3 straight overs. Over on Patrick Mahomes, 301.5 passing yards at -120. give me the over on this one. Obviously, I think Patrick Mahomes gets going here. Even if they don't play well, and they lose or the offense has turnovers, Mahomes is going to get the yards one way or another. They can't really run the ball that well at all either. The Giants' run defense has been gettable, that's for sure. But nevertheless, I think that we're looking at a pretty big Patrick Mahomes game. Whether the Chiefs win or not, give me the over on this one.
Yes, I actually really love that. As I said earlier on the FFL show, Patrick Mahomes just loves to air the ball out and air the ball specifically to Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. So I love this number. His lowest passing yards this season is like over 200 still. It's like 209 or something. So yeah, whether they win or lose or they score a bunch of tubs or not, 301 seems very gettable.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned Tyreek Hill. Give me the over on his receiving yardage total of 79.5. They're still moving Tyreek Hill around the formation a lot. He's had a couple games under this total here. I get it, but he's also gone over a few times. I think he's in a spot here where we're going to see a pretty big game from Tyreek Hill. The extra day of rest as well could be good news because, again, I think he is banged up. I think Travis Kelce is banged up. But I feel pretty good about Tyreek going over the yardage total on this one, so give me that there at -115. And lastly, we talked about Daniel Jones, Minty. Give me the over on his rushing yards at 21.5. The issue for this Chiefs defense, among many, is that their linebacker core is the stone worst in the NFL. Huge problems there. I think Daniel Jones can rip off a few big runs in this spot. So give me the over on his rushing.
Yep, I love that. I love when Danny Dimes can just run it himself. I think, if need be, he needs to take care of that ball himself, move those chains himself. I don't think the Chiefs will pressure him enough to do so, but I think they'll put him in a situation where he will need to, if that makes sense. So yeah, 21.5 seems like nothing. I think we're gonna see him maybe be the rushing yards leader for the Giants here tonight.
Maybe the rushing yard leader for both teams. Darrell Williams, we'll see. I took the over on his total yards, but rushing yards, the Chiefs have not been able to run the ball very well either. But yeah, of course I did. Well, all right, that's going to do it for us. It's an exciting slate of afternoon games. I can't wait to watch some of these. Happy Halloween to you, Minty. Your family, enjoy trick-or-treating tonight if you're going to do it. If not, just have a good time. I am very, very excited to see some pictures of the costumes, too. It sounded like you had a good one going on with your daughter there. I am excited, too. Everybody else out there, happy Halloween. Enjoy the rest of Week 8. Go make some money out there. Come on. What are you watching the show if not?